All right, so welcome to Module 1, Lesson 1 problem set. Now, the whole purpose of the problem set is for you to practice what you learned during the lesson. Now, if you don't understand what you're doing on the first one, watch the video first and then copy it in the book, but then try the second one before you play the video. So you can pause the video as you're going through the different problems. So it's best to try it on your own first and then watch the video for that problem to see if you did it right, and continue that all the way through the lesson. Okay? All right, so let's get started. Here on question 1, it says use the place value chart and arrows to show how the value of each digit changes. The first one has been done for you, and it shows they had 3 and 452,000, so they multiplied it by 10. Now when you multiply by 10, you know the number is going to get larger, and since you're multiplying by 10, each digit is going to shift one place value because each place value to the left is 10 times larger than the one on the right. So the answer they come up with was 34 and 52 hundredths, which is 10 times more than 3 and 452 thousandths. Now let's take a look at B, and let me get my pen, and I'm going to go ahead. First thing I'm going to do is write my number in. It's 3 and 452 thousandths. Now this one says it's multiplied by 100. So 100 is actually 10 times 10, so it's going to move 2 place values. So each digit will move 2 place values, so the 3 here in the ones is going to move 1, 2. The 4 is going to move 1, 2. The 5 will move 1, 2. And the 2 will move 1, 2. So we can see now that the number, our answer would be 345 and 2/10. Now, the next problem, we're taking this number and we're multiplying it times 1,000. So let's put it in there, 3 and 452 thousandths. Now, it says we're multiplying by 1,000, and that 1,000 is equal to 10 times 10, which is 100, times 10, which is equals 1,000. So if we multiply by 1,000, each digit is going to shift 3 place values. So the 3 will go 1, 2, 3. The 4 will go 1, 2, 3. The 5 will go 1, 2, 3. And the 2 would go 1, 2, 3. So we can see that this answer will be 3,452 with a comma after the period. All right, D says explain how and why the value of 5 changed in A, B, and C. Well, in A, the 5 moved 1 place value because it was multiplied, and I'm going to do short multiplied by 10. In B, it moved 2 place values because it was multiplied by 100, and I've run out of space. But the third one in C, we know it moved 3 place values because multiply 1,000, which is each place value is 10 times more to the left, so 3 place values would have been 1,000. All right, let's continue on. This time we're dividing. So we know when we divide a number by a whole number, the answer is going to get smaller. The quotient is going to get smaller. And we can see the one that's done for us. They multiply by 10, so each digit shifted to the right 1 place value. So in our next one, just like when we're multiplying, 100 is actually equals 10 times 10. So each digit is going to move 2 places to the right. 1, 2. The 4 would go 1, 2. and the 3 goes 1, 2. So the answer would have been 3 and 45/100ths. Our last example is, once we're going to put them back in there again, we're once again at 1,000 is equal to 10 times 10 times 10. So that's 3 place values are all going to move. So the 3 goes 1, 2, 3. The 4 goes 1, 2, 3. And the 5 goes 1, 2, 3. So our answer would be 345 thousandths. Now as far as D goes, as we're dividing, the digits will move 1 place value for every 10. So if you're dividing by 10, it's going to move 1. If you're dividing by 100, it's going to move 2 place values. If you're dividing by 1,000, it will move 3 place values because 1,000 is 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, now let's try some word problems to see if we can apply what we've learned. It says a manufacturer made 7,234 boxes of coffee stirrers. Each box contains 1,000 stirrers. How many stirrers did they make? Explain your thinking and include a statement of the solution. Okay, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to draw a tape diagram so that I can visualize what's happening here. So the tape diagram is nothing more than a rectangle. And I'm going to put a box here and a box here. Now I know each box has 1,000 stirrers in it. And we have 7,234 boxes. And we want to know what the total is. Now I can tell by this, I need to take 7,234 and I need to multiply that by 1,000. Now I know when I multiply by 1,000, the decimals, it's going to get larger first off, and its decimal is going to shift 3 places to the right. So if I have 7,234, and I know on a whole number, my decimal is at the end of that whole number. Because we normally have zeros going out this way, we just don't write them down. Now we're going to move this 3 places to the right, which is 1, 2, 3. So now we can see that we actually have 7,234,000 stirrers. Okay. Now 4, a student used his place value chart to show a number. After the teacher instructed him to multiply his number by 10, the chart showed 3,204. Show the picture of what the place looked like at first. Well, underneath it here, I'm going to just write down what he ended up with. There's 3200.4. So it says that he multiplied this by 10 to get this. So I know that in order to get where I was going, well, I would need to divide that. So if I took 3200.4 and divided it by 10, I would get back to the original number. So I know if I divide by 10, it's going to get smaller, so I know my digits are going to be going this direction. And they're going to go 1 place value because they're divided by 10. So the 3 will go to here, the 2 will go to here, the 0 will go to here, this 0 would go to here, and the 4 goes to here. So that's what the original chart would have looked like. Explain how you decided to draw on your place value chart. Be sure to include reasoning about how the value of each digit affected multiplication. Use words, pictures, numbers. Well, I kind of did that as I was explaining it to you. Okay? All right. Number 5. A microscope has a setting that magnifies an object, which means gets bigger, so that it appears 100 times as large when viewed through the eyepiece. If an insect is 0.095 centimeters long, how long will the insect appear in centimeters through the microscope? Okay, so if I have this, and I can tell that I'm going to be multiplying, so I'm taking 0.095, and I'm going to multiply this by 100 because it's going to be 100 times larger. So now if I take my number here and I'm starting my decimal. I know it's, since it's multiplied by 100, it's going to get larger. So the decimal is going to move to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2. So I know this would be 9 5/10 centimeters. All right. So the key here is that we're multiplying and dividing by 10, 100, and 1000s. So each digit will move one place value for every 10. And if we're working with 100, we know that's 10 times 10, so it would move 2 place values. If we're multiplying by 1000, it'd be 10 times 10 times 10, so we're going to move in 3 place values. Same if we're dividing. 10 with 1 place value, 100 is 2 place values, 1000 are 3. If we're multiplying, the number's going to get larger because we're multiplying by a whole number. If we're dividing, it's going to get smaller. So that's going to determine which way you're taking your decimal. All right. See you in class.